Did you ever notice how some people walk into a room and, without saying a word, the air subtly rearranges itself around them? And here's the unsettling question you don't want to ask yourself: why is it almost never you? And what if the reason has nothing to do with your face, your body, or your looks at all, but something far more uncomfortable about the signals you're unconsciously broadcasting every second? Because the real fear isn't that you're unattractive. The real fear is that you might be repelling people without ever realizing it, and once you see this, you can never unsee it. Think about the last time you felt invisible in a conversation, standing there while people's attention slid past you like you weren't fully present, and ask yourself this quietly dangerous question: what if attraction isn't created when you try harder, but when you stop leaking the wrong psychological energy? Most people believe attraction is something you earn by improving yourself endlessly: better clothes, sharper features, louder confidence. But that belief itself creates tension, and tension is the first thing people sense before they sense your words. The pain here is subtle but constant, trying to be chosen while unknowingly pushing others away. And here's the hook you're not ready for yet. There's a switch in the human brain that decides attraction before logic ever enters, and you're probably flipping it the wrong way. Here's where it gets uncomfortable, because the brain doesn't wait to get to know you. It judges you instantly, not with reason, but with shortcuts. In those first few seconds, people aren't asking, "Who is this person really?" They're asking something far more primitive. Is this person safe, calm, and grounded, or are they tense and trying to take something from me? This is where most people lose without realizing they were even playing. The tragedy is that the harder you try to impress, the more your nervous system betrays you, and the brain across from you feels it. But what if the most attractive signal is not effort, but control? And what if control looks nothing like what you were taught? There's a strange illusion most people live inside, and it quietly ruins their presence. You believe your thoughts are private, that your doubts stay inside your head, but your body doesn't know how to keep secrets. Micro-movements, breathing patterns, the speed of your reactions, they all leak information. And the brain watching you is incredibly good at reading that information. This is where fear enters. Once someone senses uncertainty in you, they unconsciously assign it a story, and that story is rarely kind. But the curiosity is this: if uncertainty leaks, can certainty be projected, even if you don't fully feel it yet? Let me tell you something most people never realize until it's too late: attraction doesn't grow in noise, it grows in silence. Not the awkward silence of insecurity, but the calm silence of someone who isn't rushing to be approved. When you respond too quickly, when your words tumble over each other, the brain interprets urgency as need. And need triggers resistance. This is why the most magnetic people often say less, not more. They leave space. Space gives the other person room to lean in psychologically. And here's the loop you should sit with: what if slowing down doesn't make you boring, but dangerous in a quiet way? There's a moment in every interaction where the other person decides whether to relax or stay guarded, and it happens before any deep conversation begins. It's decided by posture, by how you occupy space, by whether your body seems settled or restless. A relaxed body tells a powerful story: I'm not chasing, I'm not threatened, I'm not trying to prove. And the brain loves that story. The bitter truth is that most people stand as if they're bracing for rejection, and then wonder why rejection finds them so easily. But here's the curiosity: what happens when your body tells a different story before your mouth ever opens? Now let's touch something that stings a little. You think people are studying your flaws, scanning your face, judging every imperfection, but that belief is the very thing tightening your behavior. The brain has a name for this illusion, but the feeling is universal: the sense that a spotlight is always on you. And the shock is this: most people are too busy managing their own insecurities to notice yours. When you act as if your flaws matter deeply, you teach others to look for them. When you act as if they don't, the brain follows your lead. So the real question becomes frighteningly simple. What if confidence isn't believing you're perfect, but behaving as if your imperfections are irrelevant? There's another layer that almost feels unfair once you understand it. Humans are emotional mirrors. We don't connect through logic first, we connect through rhythm. When your emotional speed doesn't match the moment, the brain feels friction. When it does, the brain feels familiarity. This is why some conversations feel effortless while others feel draining. It's not about saying the right thing, it's about tuning into the emotional temperature and adjusting without copying. And here's the curiosity that pulls you forward. What if attraction is less about being interesting, and more about being emotionally accurate? But let's talk about something darker, because this is where the emotional peak hides. The most unattractive thing you can project is not awkwardness, not silence, not even insecurity, it's desperation disguised as effort. The moment you need a reaction, need approval, need validation, the brain senses pressure. And pressure kills desire. This is hard to hear because it forces self-honesty. Are you showing up to connect, or are you showing up to be chosen? One feels grounded. The other feels heavy. And people don't run from you, they run from the weight. The realization hurts, but it frees you. There's a subtle power in restraint that rewires how people see you. When you pause before answering, when you let a breath settle before you speak, you communicate something words never could: inner stability. Stability is rare. Stability feels safe. And safety is deeply attractive, even when people don't consciously label it that way. The mistake most people make is filling every gap, answering every silence, trying to prove value in real time. But the brain assigns value to what doesn't rush. And now the curiosity sharpens. What would change if you trusted silence to work for you instead of against you? Even the way you look at someone carries weight. Not staring, not avoiding, but acknowledging their presence and then releasing it. That brief moment tells the brain, I see you, and I'm not threatened by you. It's a balance most people miss because they're trapped in extremes. But the brain responds to balance. Balance signals control. Control signals confidence. And confidence, real confidence, doesn't demand attention, it allows it. So here's the loop you should feel tightening. How many times have you tried to hold attention when letting go would have done the opposite? At some point, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Attraction isn't something you chase, it's something you stop blocking. The signals matter more than the surface. Your pace, your pauses, your presence, they all whisper stories into the subconscious mind of everyone you meet. And those stories decide how people treat you long before you get a chance to explain yourself. This is the bitter but empowering realization: you don't need to become someone else, you need to remove the noise that's hiding who you already are. So the real psychology trick isn't a trick at all. It's awareness. Awareness of what you're projecting, awareness of how your inner state leaks outward, awareness that the brain responds to calm far more than effort. When you stop trying to force attraction and start regulating your energy, something strange happens. People lean in without knowing why. And that's the final curiosity I'll leave you with. If attraction is a byproduct of alignment, not effort, what would happen if, for once, you focused less on being impressive and more on being internally settled?